Good evening, and we begin the news at 10 tonight with a longtime hot-button issue here in the Gem State. Proposition 2, the future of the voter-passed Medicaid Expansion initiative, lying now in the hands of the state's highest court.
The Idaho Supreme Court announcing today that it will hear arguments at the end of January in favor of overturning the new law. Our Morgan Boydston is here with details about the suit. Morgan?
Voters passed the initiative to expand Medicaid for about 62,000 Idahoans who fall in the coverage gap. Now, the chairman of the Idaho Freedom Foundation filed a lawsuit against the Secretary of State concerning the constitutionality and legal effect of Prop 2. November 6th. Medicaid expansion passed in Idaho. The initiative getting more than 60% of the vote.
We think Medicaid expansion is bad policy for Idaho.
Since the beginning, Idaho Freedom Foundation has been vehemently opposed.
The projections that we've seen always show that it has a cost. The question is, how much will the cost be?
Just days ago, their chairman filed a petition with the Idaho Supreme Court.
That's the proper venue.
Prop 2 supporters brush it off as nothing more than a delay tactic.
It's a political stunt that they lost this with the voters, and they're likely to lose it in court.
The conservative organization says the wording of the measure is unconstitutional.
And we think it has very broad implications.
And gives too much power to the federal government.
So Idaho has basically delegated its ability to control the number of people on Medicaid to the federal government, should the federal government choose to change that eligibility definition.
The federal government, if they change the funding or if they change any of the requirements, the Idaho legislature always has the power to repeal the program or has options before it to change the funding mechanism.
IFF argues Idahoans have other solutions. Expansion proponents disagree.
If they were looking for true solutions to the healthcare crisis here in Idaho, then they would not be suing and they'd be working to find solutions to funding. And there are solutions there. It takes a willingness to do it.
Backers of the measure are confident justices will determine the measure constitutional.
The language is very clear, it's very simple. It perfectly aligns with language that was used to pass or to enact Medicaid expansion in 33 other states.
But if they don't, supporters still expect the legislature to listen to the will of the people and get the measure on the books. IFF says Idahoans should hear both sides of the argument first.
Our view is that the legislature should wait and see what the Supreme Court says on this very important question of constitutionality before acting.
Oral arguments in front of the Supreme Court are set for January 29th. The court administrator tells me this case will be handled as any other original case. She says the briefing and argument schedule is standard and does not reflect upon the merits of the case.
And after years of this debate, Medicaid expansion in Idaho still not over yet. All right, Morgan, thanks for that latest chapter.